Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. So I am Dhananjana Dassanayake and today I have brought this lesson for you all. Grade 10 Buddhism, Chapter 6. The great heroes who helped to develop the Buddha Sasana in Sri Lanka. Okay, so in this lesson you will be learning about two characters who were prominent and they have done a massive service during their period of reign, right? So the first person you will be learning is a Thero by the name Valivita Asarana Sarana Saranankara Sangaraja Thero. And the second person you will be learning about is King Dutugamunu. Okay, this is a very important lesson because for your O-level exams, you get a question, it's most often the last question, where you have to write short notes, like summaries, right? So in that, sometimes you will be getting these characters. Most often there's a character, one or two, and in grade 10 and 11, both grade 10 and 11, you get 4 characters, right? These two characters, as well as in grade 11 you will be learning about Rerukane Chandavimala Thero and Anagarika Dharmapada. Okay, so you should be thorough about this lesson. Let's begin. So as you can see here, this is the first person we will be dealing with, and that is Valivita Asarana Sarana Sri Saranankara Sangaraja Thero. Okay, the first thing you should know about him is that he was a Thero during the Kandyan period. And speaking about the Kandyan period, let's read this. In the Kandyan period, the kings were from the Nayakara Vansa, that means dynasty, and they were non-Buddhists. Okay, this is a very special point. They were non-Buddhists. That means they were not Buddhists. So due to that fact, there were many problems which arose against the Buddhism, see? And there were cultural changes because the kings who were ruling were not. That means they did not belong to the Buddhist religion. So during that period, there was not a single bhikkhu who had attained the Upasampada karma, which means higher ordination. So because of that, the Sangha Sasana was with low standards, because without Upasampada bhikkhus, the Sangha Sasana couldn't come into a high standard. That is because the reason is given here. See, no qualified bhikkhus were able to carry the religious task. So now is when this Sangaraja Thero come up with his duties. So this bhikkhu was born in Tumpane village. The village in which he was born is Tumpane. Okay, you should remember these points, because when you are writing the short note, if you mention these points, you could get you could gain more marks. So this is the village in which he was born in Kandy district in 1698 June 18th to a good Kandyan Buddhist family. This was his name which he was given by birth, that is Kulatunga Bandara. අපි කියන්නේ ගිහි නාමය කියලා හාමුදුරුවරුන්ට ගිහි නමක් තියෙනවා. එයාලා පැවිදි වෙනකොට තමයි ඒගොල්ලන්ට පැවිදි නමක් ලැබෙන්නේ. සාමාන්‍යයෙන් ගිහි කාලෙදී මේ හාමුදුරුවන්ගේ නම තමයි කුලතුංග බණ්ඩාර. So at the age of 16, see the age in which he was ordained, right? At the age of 16, he was ordained as a bhikkhu at the Suryagoda Vihara as Valivita Saranankara. Now what is his name after he was ordained? That is Valivita Saranankara. So the important facts about him is that he travelled to distant places and learned Pali language and the Dharma Vinaya. So this is not an easy task, right? It was a very difficult task, but the bhikkhu did not give up. See, now you can get a quality of the bhikkhu from here. He is a very courageous bhikkhu, right? He does not give up even though the task is hard. So the bhikkhu studied Pali, poetry and many more subjects and gained a lot of knowledge. Valavita Saranankara Thero spent a very religious life. And also for alms he had to go on Pindapata Charika. You know what Pindapata Charika is, right? Now if a bhikkhu is taking his begging bowl, Pattara, and he is going from house to house asking for food, that is known as Pindapata Charika. So because of that, he was known as Pindapata Saranankara Thero. Now, first of all, the name he got when he was being ordained is Valavita Saranankara. Now, he has got another name which is Pindapata Saranankara Thero, right? So, the Thero also helped those in need. This is also a very good quality which even the Buddha possessed. Because of that, he was known as Asarana Saranankara Thero. So, if you get a question, why was Saranankara Thero known as Pindapatika Saranankara Thero? That is because he went on Pindapata Charika. And why was he known as Asarana Saranankara Thero? That is because he helped those in need, right? These are points you should remember. So during this period, Buddhism received a lower status because the bhikkhus in the Buddha Sasana did not, that means they were declined in their Vinaya. Their discipline was a bit declined. So example for that is some bhikkhus had families of their own. Right, from that you can see how declined their Vinaya must have been. And some bhikkhus even worked as messengers to rich families. As I told you before, Upasampada bhikkhus, that means wise and higher ordained bhikkhus were not there at that time. So because of that, the bhikkhus were like, they were messengers for rich families and they had families of their own. So this shows that Bhikkhu Vinaya had been declined. So due to this reason, Saranankara Thero was not very happy, right, because of this situation. So he got to go together with religious minded Buddhists, right? Religious minded Buddhists, not just Buddhists. Now even when these are bhikkhus, they are not religious minded, right? They have various other aims and other goals which are not relevant for the Vinaya of them. However, Saranankara Thero got together with religious minded Buddhists and formed a society called Silvat Sangama. This might come as an MCQ, and also you can include this in your short note. Like the question could come like, who formed the society Silvat Sangama? So that is Saranankara Thero. And also he ordained those who wanted to join the Sasana. Out of these religious minded people, not ordinary people, religious minded people, he ordained them if they wanted to join the Sasana. So by this time, Saranankara Thero was 50 years old but had not received the Upasampada karma. Because of that decline of the Vinaya and also less number of educated bhikkhus, the Upasampada karma was not put into action. And even when Saranankara Thero was 50 years old, he was not highly ordained. So later the bhikkhus, with the help of King Kirti Sri Rajasingha, this is also an important point. The king during that period was King Kirti Sri Rajasingha. They sent an envoy to Thailand, right? And got some bhikkhus who attained Upasampada karma. So, King of Siam means another word for Thailand. So, that king sent 20 bhikkhus under the leadership of, who was the leader? Upali Mahatero. This is also an important point. You might even get this for an MCQ. So under the leadership of Upali Thero, 20 bhikkhus came to Sri Lanka. So in 1753, Saranankara Thero and 6 others ordained Upasampada Karma. After this, the Siam Bhikkhu Nikaya came into being in this country. Now you know that the bhikkhus are divided into various nikayas and all, right, various sectors like Theravada, Mahayana, those kinds of things. So this is how Siam Bhikshu Nikaya was established in Sri Lanka. So for the services done to the development of Buddha Sasana in Sri Lanka, Kirti Sri Rajasinghe proclaimed the Saranankara Thero as Sangha Raja. Now you have 3 names, okay, other than the original name, which is Valavita Saranankara Thero. You have 3 other names. One is this Sangha Raja. This is a post actually, and the other one is Pindapatika. See, Pindapatika Saranankara Thero and Asarana Sarana Saranankara Thero. So here there is another important point. As soon as he came to the temple, he took a Talapata. Talapata means ola leaf, and wrote in it, Bhikkhu, do not be proud. That means Udangu Nova Mahana කියලා එයා හාමුදුරු තල්පතක් අරගෙන ලියලා එයාට පේන තැනක, ඒ කියන්නේ entrance එකේම මේ hung it at the entrance එකේම ඒක එල්ලලා තියෙනවා. That shows how modest he was, right? He's not proud, and also he advises himself not to be so. And another thing you might have learned about this bhikkhu if you did Sinhala, I can remember the grade actually, but I can remember this point. In our Sinhala book we had about this Thero, and it was said that during he studied, he kept this coconut shell ඔළුවට පොල් කට්ටක් තියාගෙන තමයි නිදාගෙන තියෙන්නේ. එතකොට අර ඒක අමාරු නිසා ඇහැරෙනවානේ. ඒ ඇහැරිච්ච හැම වෙලේම ඒ හාමුදුරුව පාඩම් කරලා තියෙනවා. Now see how inclined he was in his studies, right? So the Sangharaja started a Pirivena in Udunuwara. These are some services of the Sangharaja. You can note this down. Everything I say, like specifically the specific things, you should note them down, right? So he started a Pirivena in Udunuwara and some religious institutions at Anuradhapura, Polonnaruwa, Dambulla, and were renovated by Sangharaja. So this is also another service. Religious institutions in these areas were renovated. The Perahara of the Temple of the Tooth was organized by the Sangharaja Thero. This is another very, very important point, right? The Perahara of the Temple of the Tooth. Dalada Maliga Perahara organized කරලා තියෙන්නේ මේ Sangharaja Thero. Okay. So another fact about this Thero is followed the Sangha Vinaya strictly and wrote many books. These are some of his books. This is also, you can include this also for your short note. And this would come as an MCQ also. Like they could ask, who wrote Muniguna Alankare? Or who is the author of Muniguna Alankare? Or what are the books written by Sangharaja Thero? Okay. So they are Muniguna Alankare, Sarartha Sangrahaya, Sarartha Ratnatraya Pranama Gatha Sannaya, Satara Banavara Sannaya. Okay, what are those four? Muniguna Lankaraya, Sarartha Sangrahaya, Sarartha Ratanatraya Pranama Gatha Sannaya, Satara Banavara Sannaya. Okay, so see, Sangharaja Thero did so much to the development of Buddhism. In 1778, as a full moon day, the Sangharaja Thero passed away. So, like, this is also one of the things which happened in Asala full moon Poi day. If do you remember another thing which happened in Asala full moon Poi day? Don't you? If you don't, just pause the video, think and search, and if you can, just comment down below, right? It is also very important during your studies. I won't tell it because during your learning time, you should do researches, and that's how you learn, right? So just find out what are the other special things which happen during Asalapoe Day and just comment it down below, right? If the answers are correct, I'll check it. So the other things, these are the other services of the bhikkhu, right? The Sangaraja Thero was guided by Saddha throughout his life. He lived a very simple life as well as a well-disciplined one. Even with so much difficulties and problems, the Thero also never forgot about religious education. Okay, these are not his services. These are some points about him, right? You could, these are like small notes. You could use these, and then when you're writing the answer for the short note questions, you could just expand this a bit and write and include your own knowledge as well. So another thing is, Sangaraja always helped the children and their welfare. He was never proud in his ways, which is Mudu Anatimani. Do you remember this thing? If you watch my previous video, which is lesson number 5, I guess. What is this lesson? Yeah, this is 6. So in lesson number 5, we learned about Maitri Sutta, and at that point I taught you what Mudu and Anatimani means, right? If you can't remember that, just go and check it out. So Sangaraja had a great determination to develop the Buddhism, right? So that is the end of the description of Sangaraja Thero. So I hope you understood. In this video I didn't provide you with a short note, but in case if you need, just comment down below that you need the short note. Otherwise the important points I put star marks during the video, so you can go through the video again and write those points down, right? So the next person whom we will be talking about is King Dutugamunu. So King Dutugamunu got Sri Lanka free from the foreign rule. The most important fact about him is that he is the first ruler who united the country, right? Now, even though the country was ruled by a king, it was not united until King Dutugamanu's reign, because a part of the country was ruled by some other king or a provincial ruler or Paramukas and those people. But during Dutugamanu king's reign, you might learn this in history as well, he united the whole country. Before that, the north was ruled by King Elara, and these parts where King Kavantissa and all reign was in Anuradhapura. So like that, the country was divided and ruled. But during King Dutugamanu, the country was united. Okay, without further ado, let's just get into the lesson. So these are the important points. He was supposed to be a warrior king. He was a warrior king. And this is a very, very important point, this highlighted point, because he had said, the endeavor of mine was not for the sake of royalty, but for the supreme bliss of Buddhism, right? In most of the MCQs and short answer questions, you are given this, this quote and asked who said this, or sometimes they asked what is the quote said by King Dutugamunu. So this is that. That means King Dutugamunu has said, Mage me avipraya hudek rajasapa vindimu udesa noveyi බුදු දහමේ සහ බුද්ධ ශාසනයේ චිරස්ථිතිය උදෙසාය කියලා තියෙනවා. I hope you understood that. So this is the kingdom which he belonged to, right? Belonged to the royalty of Ruhunu kingdom, which was in Anuradhapura. and he was the eldest son of King Kavantissa. These are the facts you should remember when you are writing your short note, if you are choosing the characters. So the king who was the father of King Dutugamunu was King Kavantissa, and the mother was Queen Vihara Mahadevi. Just point these down. And he together with his brother Tissa. Tissa means this is King Saddha Tissa. The younger brother of King Dutugamunu is King Saddha Tissa. And the other fact you should remember is that Anuradhapura was ruled by Elara, who was a Tamil king, right? Now, during the period of King Dutugamunu, he was in a part of the country, right? Here they said it was Ruhuna. But the Anuradhapura kingdom was taken over by Elara, who was a Tamil king. If you know this historical story, you might know that King Dutugamunu went against his father's rule, because Kavantissa රජුරු ගොඩක් යුද්ධ කරන්න ඒවට කැමති කෙනෙක් නෙමෙයි. ඉතින් එයා එළාර රජුරුවත් එක්ක සටනට ගියේ නැහැ. If you know that the story about those rice things, බත්ගුලි කවලා එළාර රජුරුවත් එක්ක සටන් කරන්නේ නැහැ නේද කිව්වට දුටුගැමුණු රජුරු ඒක පිළිගත්තේ නැහැ. එයා ඒ බත්ගුලිය විසික් කරා කියලා කියනවා. And he went against King Kavantissa's rule. That is why he was known as Duttagamini Abaya. That is what later became Dutugamunu, right? I won't go that much deep with details, but I hope you already know that if you watch those films and dramas and those things about King Dutugamunu, okay, not other stuff. So it is also stated that King Elara was a truthful and honest king, right? Even though he was like capturing the Anuradhapura kingdom, he was a truthful and honest king. It is said that there was this bull. There was this bull who had been killed, right? It was a calf during that time. And this King Elara had this kind of bell in front of his gates. මේ එළාර රජුරුවන්ගේ gates ඉස්සරහා තිබිලා තියෙනවා ලොකු සීනුවක්. කාට හරි මිනිස්සෙට මොකක් හරි අසාධාරණයක් නම් කාටම හරි කරදරයක් නම් ඒක රින් කරන්න ඕනේ. එතකොට ඒ රජුරුවම ඒක මොකක්ද ඒකට වෙලා තියෙන්නේ? ඇයි මේ කරදරේ වෙලා තියෙන්නේ කියලා ඒක ගැන හොයලා බලනවා. ඉතින් එක දවසක් මේ සීනුව නාද වෙලා තියෙනවා. බලද්දී ඒ එළ දෙනක්. ඉතින් මේ එළාර රජුරු අහලා තියෙනවා ඇයි මේ කියලා බලන්න කියලා. එතකොට කලින් දවසේ එළාර රජුරුවන්ගේ පුතා, right, his own son had been driving a carriage, and the son, that means the calf of this cow, had been killed. ඉතින් එයා පැටිය මැරිච්ච දුකට තමයි මේක ඇවිල්ලා රජතුමාට කියන්නේ. So even though this is an animal, the king heard its plea and he killed his own son. Do you believe that? Right? So that much he was honest, and he was ready to even kill his own son if he did a mistake. Unlike most of the rulers who like favorize for their own kids and those things, King Elara was a very honest and truthful leader. So the other fact is that before King Elara, Anuradhapura was ruled by two South Indian invaders by the name Sena and Guttika. And these are also some important points, not during the short note, but for MCQ questions maybe. So the other point you should know is, from childhood, Prince Gamunu was a brave prince, and he wanted to go to war with Elara, but King Kavantissa did not agree. මේක තමයි බත්ගුලියේ කතාව, I told you before. So he said that it was not time and blah 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 things. It's not really important. However, this is important. King Dutugamunu went to live in Kothmali. You might already know, but after being like taking actions against his father, the prince just went. Right after he told King Kavantissa that his father's things, that means his ideas were wrong, that if this country had to be united, we should have war, like that was his aim. And so he fled to Kotmale. That was where he went. So after the king's death, that means King Kavantissa's death, Dutugamunu came back. And also he had the blessings of the bhikkhus, because he was also a very righteous king. And at Vijitapura, this is where the war took place, right? At Vijitapura, Dutugamunu fought with King Elara and won the war. And he killed King Elara. He united Sri Lanka. Okay, so King Elara died in the war. And he was given all respects and cremated at Anuradhapura. Okay, this is also a good feature of King Dutugamunu. Even for his, enemy, he gave all the respects and cremated at Anuradhapura, and he even built a chetiya with his ash buried in it. With King Elara's ash buried in it, he built a chetiya, and he said that whoever passes the place should observe silence as respect to King Elara. ඒතනින් යන මිනිස්සු ටික වෙලාවක් they should respect it, right? ටික වෙලාවක් නිශ්ශබ්දතාවයෙන් ඉඳලා තමයි එතනින් යන්න ඕනේ කියලා කිව්වේ. So his aim was to develop Buddhism and Buddha Sasana, you know that. And these are his services. He built Maha Stupa Ruwanweli Saya. The Mahavamsa explains how it was built. If you are a child who learns history, I know you do, even though you can't remember, it was there, it's in your book, about this process of building Ruwanweli Saya, how he laid the foundation, how strong it was, about the Vajrachumbaka and all those things. So all those who helped in building the Mahasaya were paid, right? Unlike some other rulers, they didn't take their service free of charge. Sali nodi වැඩගත්තේ නැහැ. They paid it, and also the clothing and food were given. The king respected the Sangha. So much that he never had any food without sending the food as alms to the Bhikkhu Sangha. දුටුගැමුණු රජුරෝ කිසිම කෑමක් කෑවේ නැහැ. ඒක දාන විදියට හාමුදුරුවන්ට යවන්න නැතුව. However, the king built the මිරිසවැටිය චේතිය, this is another service, as penance for his failure for not sending the food to his Sangha. එක දවසක් කෑම කද්දී මිරිස් මාළුවක් තිබිලා ඒක දානට යවන්න බැරි වෙච්ච හින්දා තමයි ඒකට penance එකක් විදිහට මේ රජතුමා මිරිසවැටිය චෛත්‍ය ඉදි කරලා තියෙන්නේ. I hope you understood that. The king built 68. See, 68. Just guess how much. 68 more viharas throughout the country. Lower Mahapaya, the center of educated Buddhist priests, was built and developed by King Dutugamunu. This is another service. Note these down, please, because these are coming for short questions, as short answer questions as well as MCQs, right? And you can include this in your short note as well. So the other fact is he was a king for 24 years. He ruled for a massive period of time. This is another point. Vesak Poya was celebrated during his time. There were 24 such celebrations, right? There were 24 Vesak celebrations. Unlike other days, our video is getting very long, I guess. However, let's just finish this fast. So he also saw that these religious activities done by him was to be written in the Pimpota. This is a very important point you can include. රජුරවන්ට තිබුණා පින් පොතක්. හාමුදුරුවෝ නෙමෙයි. රජුරුව කරන හැම පින් වැඩක්ම එයා ඒ පොතේ ලිව්වා. Even you all can take it to practice, right? If you are doing a good deed, a wholesome deed, you can write it in a book, right? After you write it, and after some time when you are reading it, then you again remember, and the time which you remember and also become happy about your deed, you will gain merits, right? Okay, so this was a book which recorded the king's religious activities. Please note that also down. The other fact is, okay, by the time of his death, ඒ කියන්නේ මැරෙන්න ළඟ වෙද්දී රුවන්වැලි සෑය ඉදි වෙලා තිබුණේ නැහැ. ඒක කම්ප්ලීට් වෙලා තිබුණේ නැහැ. කොටසයි සම්පූර්ණ වෙලා තිබුණේ. So King Dutugamunu was very sad because he couldn't complete it. However, his brother King Saddhatissa covered the parts of the stupa which was not completed with white clothes to look as if completed. බලන්න මේකට කොච්චර රෙදි ඕනේ වෙන්නේ නැද්ද? අච්චර මහා ස්තූපයක් cover කරන්න නේද? ඉතින් complete නැති parts ටික ඔක්කොම cover කරන්න සුදු රෙදි ගෙන්නලා ඒ ටික ඔක්කොම complete වගේ පෙන්වන්න ඒ ටික cover කරා සද්ධාතිස්ස රජුරෝ, right? සද්ධාතිස්ස රජුරෝ didn't build it, right? Ruwanwali Saya was built by King Dutugamunu. However, it was completed by King Saddhatissa. So this was shown to the king. So King Dutugamunu felt so happy and died while looking and worshipping it. See how meritoriously he died. And then he was born in heaven. King Dutugamunu was a great warrior king with very good qualities. Okay, it is said that he attained arahatship during the time of the Maitri Buddha. So that's the end of our lesson. See, I mentioned how the great Sangaraja Thero saved the Bhikkhu Sasana. What are the great qualities that you can learn from the great warrior King Dutugamunu? Please answer these because this will help you to revise. And also, if you can, just comment your answers below so that I can check them and point out your mistakes. I hope the lesson is clear. I guess we passed 30 minutes also. I'm sorry if this is too long. However, I hope I covered everything. So this is a very important lesson. You should go through this. And that's it. So I hope you enjoyed the lesson and also share your knowledge with your friends as well. And please subscribe to my channel. And don't forget to go through the other lessons if you have missed them, right? I have done all the lessons in order and you all can go through them as well. See you. Take care. Bye.